Hey, everybody, welcome to the Achieve Results Now podcast. This is Mark Cardone.
And Theron Feidt.
Exciting stuff. It's cool. We're recording on a different day. We're recording on a Monday. And coincidentally, this podcast is how to have a killer week. So what better way to do it than to start on the holiest of days, Monday.
Everybody's favorite day, Monday.
The best day of the week, fresh start, everything's clean, nothing bad's happened yet, and we are ready to rock the week.
Before we get into it, I think it's good to start with Monday. You know, why do people hate Monday so much? I think certainly some of it is they don't like their job, their career, all of that. That obviously has a lot to do with it. But also, I think they don't set themselves up for success. Mm-hmm. Which we're going to talk about. The other part of it is culturally, everybody, and socially, probably more specifically, everybody's like, oh, Monday sucks. And, you know, all of this about Monday. How often do you hear something about Monday like you said?
It is not cool to love Mondays.
Yeah. And it reminds me of school, you know, where something isn't cool and, oh, you're not doing that. It's like, you be a leader, right? You want to be successful. Sure. Don't do what everybody else is doing. That's number one, right? One of the keys to success is almost do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, and you'll be more successful. I mean, that's pretty much, we're done. We're done with our podcast. That's it.
Well, and I find it interesting because I'm sure there's people listening right to this podcast right now. It's Monday morning, you know, obviously we're recording Monday. I'm sure there's someone listening to this on a Monday morning who can just relate to Monday mornings in general. Like, you had a bunch of stuff planned. Like, this is my new life starting this Monday, right? Yeah. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start eating healthy because I just got off this weekend where I totally wrecked myself. I kind of took Friday slow at work because I said, well, Monday I'm going to get back at the thing. And then you woke up today and you didn't really know what to do. You felt overwhelmed and you're kind of feeling like you're in last week all over again, right? And you're kind of saying, well, I guess I didn't do it right. And this week's going to stink too. And I meet people all the time, you know, who run into that because it's like, well, I didn't wake up and crush my workout on Monday, you know, so I guess it's just I guess I'm just me again. Like, I'm not good enough again. Right.
Yeah.
And I hate that because I mean, we have 7 whole days. Like, Monday morning should not be the determination, right, of whether or not your week's going to suck.
Right. Yeah. And I like the concept of you're starting fresh. And whether you're starting fresh Monday, you're starting fresh for the week. But like you said, let's say you get tripped up on Monday. Things happen in the morning. It just doesn't go as planned, which does happen. Well, you have Tuesday to make it happen. Don't wait. Well, this week is shot. You know, it's like that old saying, I got up on the wrong side of the bed, you know, meaning my whole day is going to be ruined. You know, what a horrible thing. You could have a horrible morning. We've all had it, but don't have a horrible day.
No, for sure.
You know, turn that morning around and make your afternoon awesome.
Yeah.
Finish strong. Don't be in the mindset of, well, my day started bad, so the rest of the day is going to be bad. That's just a loser thing. That's what that is.
And so, I mean, 2 things. Number one, we normally do 3 action steps in our podcast. Today,
yeah, that's right.
We've got 2 bonuses. We're getting 5, right? And no extra cost. You know, the 5 steps. Which I think is great because these are easy. But the second important thing about this is you could do these 5 things and actually take Monday off completely and not even, you could just say, you know what, Mondays aren't even, it's going to be my extended weekend. I'm going to take Mondays off and I'm going to start on Tuesday. Imagine if everyone said, I'll start Tuesday.
Then Tuesday would be horrible.
Then Tuesday would be Monday. I guess it's all just part of it. But let's get into our 5 things because I really like these and I think these are super actionable for people.
Yep.
And by the way, before we get into it, real quick, if you hear these 5 things that you have to do, don't feel like you have to wait till next week to do it.
Right.
Like, if you're listening to this on a Wednesday, feel free to bite size some of the steps and start today because that's what the podcast is.
Absolutely. Yep. So number one, I really like this one. Have at least 3 really good to great workouts a week.
Mhm.
Now, we think you should move every day, do some stretching, some yoga, breathing exercises, go for a walk, all that stuff. So daily movement obviously should be part of it. But what we're talking about specifically is 3 workouts that you're going to sweat, 3 workouts that are, whatever that is. Maybe it is running for you. Maybe it's martial arts, maybe whatever. And of course, it can be more than 3. It can always be more than 3. But we're saying that that's your minimum.
Yeah. And 3 is great because, again, if we miss the first day, right, if we miss our workout on Monday because something happened, I got
Right.
6 other days. I can work out 50% of my week and still be successful. But, and in this, I want you to think about things that you enjoy, right? Like you said, like I like martial arts workouts because I enjoy martial arts. So that's what I
Right.
do, right? Don't pick something that you hate doing and think
Right.
you're going to stick to it consistently
Right.
and do it 3 times a week.
Right.
That's a huge mistake that people make. Find a sport, find a thing, even if it's just walking your dogs, and maybe power walking your dogs for an hour. I
Right.
don't know if anybody's ever. It's hard to sweat in upstate New York because it's 2 degrees, so everything freezes. But if you've ever gotten out and actually hard walked for an hour, that's a workout. So good hard workout 3 days a week.
Because you could literally do nothing the other days and then work out pretty hard for an hour 3 days a week, and you'd be in good shape.
Yeah, you get great benefits, great cardiovascular, everything. So
we're not talking about that. We're talking about adding it in, but still, it's very beneficial.
Absolutely. Only 3 days. Easy peasy. So number 2, and I really like this one. Number 2 is non-negotiable family time, right? So something scheduled where technology's out of it, unless maybe it's a movie night, right? But, it's just time where we're not texting, we're not working, our brain's not in 700 different places, but it's just time with family.
Yeah. Yeah. And schedule it, make sure it's something that if you can do it where it's a specific day each week, it's the same day each week, then you can build your week around it. That seems to work for us. But if you have kids, especially as they get a little older, they're in multiple activities. Sometimes the activities conflict. I remember when my kids were younger, all of a sudden in sports, they were doing things on Sunday. Before Sunday was like, that's family day. All we do is family stuff. We have dinner, we hang out, all of that. And then all of a sudden now we're having these sports on Sundays. Well, you can't say, well, kids, you can't do that. I guess you can, but we didn't. So we had to pick another day of the week when something was on Sunday that we were going to do, or we just extended it Sunday. You can make it work. So rigid flexibility is certainly something that you should work on when you're dealing. So you have guidelines. This is what we're going to do. And you have option A, option B, so that way you get it in. But you don't want to go a week without that.
And it's cool because we could do a whole separate podcast on how to do quality family time, right? Because I think what happens sometimes is people set this blueprint in their head for what it has to look like. Like, oh, it has to be, we have to go to this apple orchard and everyone has to be smiley and we have to do this thing. And like literally, and I forgot, I think it was Jerry Seinfeld who said I'm paraphrasing, but he kind of said like all time with your family is family time if you're enjoying it. Right. And sometimes it can be just a coffee date with your wife. Sometimes it does not have to be everybody all the time. Right. So, like I have 2 daughters, I have a wife. If one of my daughters goes to a sleepover, I'm not abandoning a family date. You know what I mean? I'll just make it up later. So don't aim for perfection, just aim for quality.
Right. Yeah. And it really is quality because of course you need time. So the quantity does make a difference. You shouldn't, I don't think a 10 or 15 minute family time necessarily is something that you can shoot for. You do need
good enough, kids. See you later.
Yeah. Yep. Time's up.
Yeah.
However, it is the quality it really counts. And it doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to go out and have a fancy dinner, just doing something simple, just spending time at home without, like you said, the electronics, without the distractions. That's why I love dinner so much at home, because then you're having dinner at home, you're talking.
Yeah.
That's just such a nice thing to do.
For sure. And I mean, a lot of, for most of us, that's the whole reason we do most of the other stuff, is to enjoy that connection time. So
exactly,
making sure that you make time for that is a huge reward for your week. So make sure you get that
Absolutely.
in.
Yep.
Number three, and this is super important, make time for education.
Yes.
Right. Because like, you should be trying to learn something new every, develop yourself, make yourself stronger every week.
I think this is so neglected for most adults. You graduate high school, many people go to college, or you do some type of apprenticeship, and then from there you might do some learning on the job, because your job changes, and so you're doing that. But what we're specifically talking about is educate yourself on other things. Broaden your base, so you're not just stuck into one thing. University on wheels is concept I heard, probably Brian Tracy, early on. It sounds like something he would say. And for me, I really adopted that. So 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, if I'm in my vehicle, I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm listening to a course, I'm doing something for education. And I've done that for 30 years, and really has made a difference. And in various subjects too. That is such an important thing, because it just expands the mind. It gives you the ability to make better choices, because you're hearing and seeing and listening to different people's perspectives.
Yeah. And I mean, it's amazing, because you can find a book about anything. I mean,
it used to be difficult.
Yeah, it used to be hard. Anything you want to do. And I really, like reading blogs and things like that, I think that's great, but really consider like audiobooks, podcasts.
Yeah.
Kind of authority, like if you're here listening to this podcast, that's great. That could be your weekly, like, I learned something this week, I'm going to take action on it, and I'm going to do it. And that's another thing about education is, like actionable education, right? Like, even if you're like me and you just want to learn the ukulele, right? Like, learn a chord and do it, right? But that actionable part, and we even folded, like, part of education, if you have a coach or an accountability partner, right, meeting time with them can also be great educational time.
Yeah. I can't stress this enough, how important this is. And even if it's not the 5 days a week, like I do, if it's every other day, and you mentioned if it's once a week, I think, we work on our physical body, which of course that was part of number one, but we often neglect our mental side and emotional side. And by listening to great books, by connecting with mentors, connecting to people that know more than you in certain subjects, and talking to them, getting educated about that, it can help you solve the problems that we all have in our life. Why is this happening? Why is this? And just now, there is really zero excuse. We talked about in the past, when we've talked about this subject, talk about how difficult it was 30 years ago. You had to get cassette tapes, you had to make sure, and if you left them in your car in the summer, they were no good because they melted, right? So you had to get new ones, and you had to bring them in with you. And then sometimes it was too cold and they didn't work too well. And then it was CDs, and you had a car, but you didn't have a CD player. Now what do I do? All of these things, and it sounds kind of silly, but those were steps that it took effort to listen to anything other than FM radio in your car, AM or FM, right? I mean, it took effort. Especially, you didn't have a new car, you didn't have the new technology. And so, but now on your phone, everything's there. Everything is there. Yeah. So you saying, I don't know what to listen to something. Right. You know what I mean? It's like,
open podcasts and go to
so many
suggested.
Excuses. Right. I mean, it's so ridiculous how easy it is now. Yeah. But yet, are people more educated now? I'd say no.
I'd say
I
no.
think they're
But
less educated.
speaking, and you know, just to hit real quick on the nostalgia, the one thing I do miss is the smell of opening a fresh new, you know, the
Yeah.
long cassette tape book where it
Yeah.
has like 30 cassettes in it,
Uh-huh.
and it had that like plastic, you know, like, oh, that fresh
Yeah, I don't
crack
know
of
if
the opening and the
I
books.
remember the smell.
I
I don't
miss
know if
that.
I liked it as much as you did,
No,
but
I'm that I do miss. You
whatever.
don't, yeah, you don't get that every time you start a podcast, but education is important.
Yeah.
And then, you know, number 4, this is planning. If you start Monday, like if you wake up Monday and you don't know what to do, it's because you started too late. So planning on Sunday,
Right.
you know, and planning your weekend, even if you just take an hour or a half hour or 15 minutes to lay out, you know, some of these things that you should do during the week, it's going to help you be ready when you start the week on Monday.
There's so many podcasts that we have done on that relate to this. And we've been consistent. Plan the night before. That's what we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Here we're talking about specifically for your week, plan the night before, the day before your week starts. Even though some people, I think the old whatever starts on Sunday, the week does. You know, for us, we've always, especially thinking business-wise and how the martial arts works, Mondays are our start every week. All right. So Sunday is the day to plan, make sure your week is kind of framed in. One of the mistakes people make with planning is they plan too detailed. I like planning in outlines. Here's what I intend to do. This is what I'm going to fit in. I'm going to fit this in on Tuesday. However, if it doesn't work, I have Thursday to make up for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I like to plan because things come up. And especially if you have kids, things are going to come up. You can't say, no, I can't take you here. I can't pick you up from your event because I have this to do. You know, I mean, what's more important? Your kids are more important.
Mm-hmm.
But you will still want to get things done. So if you plan by an outline, and this is what I want to get done in the week, and you leave some flex time, that to me, that's the best way to plan.
Oh, for sure. And because I think if you over plan even your days, right? Like if you over plan your days, you're going to hit a rock and it's going to set everything crazy. But, you know, one of the things, like I've been bullet journaling for years. And one of the things I love about bullet journaling is it's, you know, let's make a list of everything we want to do this year. You know, and then once a month, we're going to pull some things out of that list and we can always add to it, but we're going to pull some things out of that list and here's what I'm going to do this month. And then here's what I'm going to do this week. And then you can just kind of say, hey, this week I want to do these 6 things. And maybe I'll try this one on this day. Maybe I'll try this one on this day. But you can always kind of shift. So I think you're 100% right. That rigid flexibility in your planning process is something you have to get good at. Because I think one of the big mistakes people make with planning is they go, well, my life's just not organized enough to plan every minute. And it's like, welcome to all of us, right?
Yeah.
But you have to at least, I mean, if you don't sit down on Sunday and say, okay, you know, I want to do family night on Thursday because there's this great example, like one of my friends is opening a painting studio, one of those paint and sips, and they have a kid painting class on Saturday this week. And I said, okay, I want to sign us up for that. So there, plan ahead, get everybody on board. And, you know, but if I didn't think about it ahead of time, I'll be trying to buy tickets when they're already sold out and I'll be in that puddle that everybody's always in.
Yeah. Something that helped me, a mentor many, many years ago, shared with me the idea of planning in blocks. And you can use any types of blocks, but we talked about 3-hour blocks. So what the idea is, and what I still do, is from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. What do I want to get done? You know, what are my priorities there? 9 to noon, noon to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, and then we're done. You know, so it's got to be more than a 12-hour day. You know,
right?
I joke I only work half a day, but usually a little longer. You know, 12 hours. Usually it's much longer than 12 hours. Yeah, half a day. So that works for me. Is here are my priorities I want to get done within those 3-hour time blocks. And that way you have some flexibility, because 3 hours, you can get a lot done in 3 hours if you're focused.
Oh, a ton.
But just having no time zones, because like you said, planning to the minute, if you're going to plan every 15 minutes, we'll do that in the middle of the night. You know, when I'm running the dojo, running the classes, yes, there is a plan, and it's down to that 15-minute mark because there's a lot going on within a short period of time. But after that, I don't plan every 15 minutes. That'd be ridiculous.
Right. For sure. For sure. And I mean, time is a vacuum, right? Like if we don't put something in the slot gets filled.
Yes.
You know, like
absolutely.
somebody else will fill your time if you don't have things. So, and,
Yep.
so I think really getting that week done the Sunday before or whatever day before your week starts, is gold.
For sure. And then the last one is, and this is very important. It's working on the most important tasks right now. So do them first. Get them over with. That, to me, when you do that, it creates a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
It builds your confidence. And the other thing is, when are you freshest? Hopefully
morning.
In the beginning, right? In the beginning. So that's when you should be doing your most important tasks. Save your other ones that need to be done, but they're more busy work, for when you don't need your mind, your brain power so much.
And and it's interesting because when I think my most important tasks, they're not things that involve, my real estate company. They're not things that involve, kind of all these other, like my to-do list, right?
Yeah.
Your to-do list is easy. It's easy to go through your to-do list and be like, well, I have to do this today. I have to do this today. What's hard to find when you think about your most important tasks are the things that are really going to energize you and move your life forward, right? So, I mean, literally the exercise is this. Go through your head and say, what have I been saying I'm going to do, but I've never started it? Like, what is that thing that I tell everyone I'm going to do this, or I'm thinking about doing this, and you've done zero to minimal amount of things on it?
Right.
That's the thing. If it's important to you, that you carve out 15 to 30 minutes in the morning and you just dive into it.
Right. And workouts can be part of that.
Absolutely.
Right. And really should be part of it. That way you're not putting it off to the end of the day when you're most tired, but you're getting it done first thing.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, if you've been saying for years, like, oh, I need to start exercising, then wake up 30 minutes early and start exercising.
Right.
You know what I mean? And do it because at the end of the day, you're going to go, wow, like my to-do list always has 5 things left on it that I'm never going to get to.
Always.
Right. If you're like me, I mean, everybody, right? My to-do list will always, it could be 100 things long or 50 things long.
Right.
There's always going to be 5 things I don't get to, but there's always going to be one thing you never get to. Right. And it's going to be that thing that you keep saying, oh, I can't wait to start this. And you said it when you were 25, and you said it when you were 35, and now I'm almost 45.
Yeah.
Do that thing first, a few days a week. If you can't do it every day, that's okay. But like 2 or 3 days a week, just nail that one thing.
Right. Love it. Awesome. All right. Ready to review?
Absolutely.
Okay. So number 1 is 3 good workouts a week. So commit to that. Something we're going to sweat, something you're going to really get into that's going to raise your heart rate and get you going.
Absolutely. Number 2, focused, non-negotiable family time. So time when you can really get rid of the technology and zero in on enjoying some time connecting with your family.
Number 3 is daily education. Take your time to make sure you're reading, listening to audiobooks, listening to this podcast. We recommend daily, but certainly do it as often throughout the week as you can. Check in with your mentor, your coach, whatever the case is.
Number 4, plan on Sunday. So, or whatever day before you start your week, but get that kind of rough frame planning in so you know the direction and you already have a little bit of victory early.
And the last one is work on your most important tasks first. Get those done, get those out of the way, so that way they're not, number 1, hanging over your head, but also they get done.
I would love to hear how this impacts people's weeks who do it. So if you listen to this and you put it into effect, message us on the Facebook page or on Instagram and let us know how this helped you. And please feel free to share this with your friends. Let them know how they can have a better week.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everybody.